Hey guys, welcome back to my name is Sarah, and it is time for another very last minute TBR jar challenge. So if you haven't seen these before, or if you have been here before, I did update my jar. So all the papers are in here are different colors now. So red is anything that I purchased before May of 2024. That's when I started keeping track of all of the books I was hauling. So I thought that would be the most trackable way to do these. The orange ones are any of the books that I bought between May and December of 2024, and then all of the purple books in here or the purple slips in here are my 2025 book haul books. So what I do is I choose to start with 3 books out of here and try and read those books. But to add a little bit of an extra challenge for myself, I like to do a random number generator. The amount of pages I read every day, I pick at the start of the week. Today is Monday, it's the start of this video. So I will choose all my pages for the week right now. And then I attempt to try and read that many pages or more every single day and keep track of that. And try and get through as many of these books as I possibly can. Now, I don't limit myself to a certain amount of pages before I can DNF a book. It's just if I'm not feeling it, if I don't like the writing style, if I decide that I don't actually want to read it after all, then I can DNF it whenever I see fit. Anytime I do this, I vary the amount of pages between 50 and an X amount, whether that be 150 or 200 or whatever the case may be. I always change that up just kind of depending on what I'm looking at for the week. So this week is going to be pretty crazy. We've got baseball practice, my son's birthday is coming up, and just a lot going on this week, but I'm going to try and read as much as I possibly can, but I am still going to kind of keep it reasonable. So I think I'm going to set my parameters between 50 and 200 or 50 and 150 this week, and we'll see what I get. Sometimes the random number generator on Google is nicer to me than others. It just really depends on the day. So we'll start with that. We will see how many pages I'm reading today. Like I said, we'll get our numbers for the entire week. I put that into my bullet journal, and then we keep track as we go. So I have it pulled up already between 50 and 150. So the amount that I'll read today is 120, which is lots of fun. It's already 11:30 in the morning because I've done this once before today, and then I changed my mind on what I wanted to read. So tomorrow we will read 50 pages. Wednesday we will read 89. Thursday we'll do 119. Friday 143. Saturday 58. Sunday 51. And Monday 88. So that's really not too bad. The worst day is going to be Friday, which is going to be a really busy day for me. But whatever I don't finish on a certain day, then I will tack that on to the next day. So it kind of plays out in the end. Sometimes I have to add on some more reading, like the beginning of next week. Like at the end of this challenge. Most days I have to do that because I end up getting behind. I think this last time was the closest I got to being able to actually make my pages or above every single time. But it really just depends on how things play out. So for choosing my books, what I do with this is I choose one of each color to start with and then try and read those books. And then once I read those books or not read those books, depending on how things play out, I'll choose 3 more. But I choose one of each color, trying to give myself the variety of something that I have had on my shelves for a really long time versus something that I just added to my shelf, so I'm more excited to pick it up. That way I'm not doing all red ones or all purple ones. I'm kind of getting a combination of everything. 120 pages to read today. Let's see what we get. I try to keep this up to date, and like at the end of every month or more, I try and go through these and make sure everything's updated for all my new books as I go, or books that I've read, taking them out. So I did update everything. And so let's pick our first one. Let's see what color it is. And we have an orange one. So what book is this? Listen for the Lie by Amy Tintera. Okay, so this one was on the Goodreads Choice Awards last year for mystery thriller. I've heard that the audiobook is supposed to be fantastic for this. I think she is a podcaster, and so it works really, really well apparently for audio. But I have the physical book, and I'm really excited to read it. I was going to read it for my buzzword cover challenge thing in January, and then I was also going to read The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager, and I didn't end up getting to either one of those. So I'm very behind on Books and Lala's challenge for this year, but very excited for Listen to Lie. I haven't read a really great thriller in quite a while, so that's really fun. Let's pick a red one next. All right, here we are. The Shadow of What Was Lost by James Islington. Is that the first one? So I actually got these books, the James Islington ones, for my husband to try. I actually got these books for my husband to try out. He read the first one, and then I bought the rest of the series, and then he hasn't touched them since. So, sorry, my Goodreads is my internet sucks today. Okay, so this is the first book in the series. So that will work. Okay, so the next book up we have The Shadow of What Was Lost by James Islington. I've never read anything by this author, and I don't even remember what these are about. So, okay. Alright, and next up, let's grab a purple one. Let's go with this one. It's already halfway unfolded because of my daughter. So we have The Fury by Alex Michaelides. Okay, so alright. We have 2 thrillers and a fantasy. Okay, so let me grab the books. I have The Fury right here. The Fury is right here. This one is... It says, this is a tale of murder, or maybe that's not quite true. At its heart, it's a love story, isn't it? Lena Farrar is a reclusive ex-movie star and one of the most famous women in the world. Every year, she invites her closest friends to escape the English weather and spend Easter on her idyllic private Greek island. Well, that's fitting for the start of April. I tell you this because you may think you know the story. You probably read about it at the time. It caused a real stir in the tabloids, if you remember. It had all the necessary ingredients for press sensation, a celebrity, a private island cut off by the wind, and a murder. We found ourselves trapped there overnight. Our old friendships concealed hatred and a desire for revenge. What followed was a game of cat and mouse, a battle of wits full of twists and turns, building to an unforgettable climax. The night ended in violence and death. But who am I? My name is Elliot Chase, and I'm going to tell you a story unlike any you've ever heard. So it kind of gives me vibes of like, everyone in my family has killed someone, just like the perspective that he's telling the story from. So I've heard good things about this, but I loved The Silent Patient, and I was just kind of mediocre on The Maidens. So I'm really, really nervous to read this book. So let me go grab Listen for the Lie and The Shadow of What Was Lost, and then we can talk about them. The Shadow of What Was Lost is huge. This book is almost 700 pages. But it says, as destiny calls, a journey begins. It has been 20 years since the godlike augurs were overthrown and killed. Those who once served them, the gifted, were spared only after accepting the rebellion's 4 tenets, which vastly limited their powers. Davian suffers the consequences of a war lost before he was even born. When he discovers that he wields the forbidden power of the augurs, he sets into motion a chain of events that will change everything. To the west, a young man whose fate is intertwined with Davian's wakes up in a forest covered in blood and with no memory of who he is. And in the far north, an ancient enemy begins to stir. So it sounds interesting, for sure. My husband liked it enough to have me get the other 2, so I'm definitely curious to try it out. Definitely an interesting choice. And then, of course, we have Listen for the Lie by Amy Tintera. This one, it says, what if you thought you murdered your best friend and if everyone else thought so too? And what if the truth doesn't matter? Lucy and Savvy were the golden girls of their small Texas town. Pretty, smart, and enviable. Lucy married a dream guy with a big ring and an even bigger new home. Savvy was the social butterfly, and, if you believe the rumors, especially popular with men in the town. But after Lucy is found wandering the streets covered in her best friend Savvy's blood, everyone thinks she is a murderer. It's been years since that horrible night, a night that Lucy can't remember anything about, and she has since moved to LA and started a new life. But now the phenomenally huge hit true crime podcast, Listen for the Lie, and its two good-looking hosts, Ben Owens, have decided to investigate Savvy's murder for the show's second season. Lucy is forced to return to the place she vowed never to set foot in again to solve her friend's murder, even if she's the one who did it. The truth is out there if we just listen. Okay, so that sounds really, really good. So I think I might actually start with this one today. And I will come back and give you an update after I change my battery and start a book. So, 120 pages, I think, right? You know what I have to read today. So I'll double check that and I will start reading a book. Hey guys, so it has been about 4 hours since I checked in with you, and that is because I have been binge reading Listen for the Lie by Amy Tintera, and let's just say I have surpassed my pages for today already in that time. This book is following Lucy, and Lucy grew up in a small town, and she had gone away to college, got married, came back, and she made friends with a girl named Savvy. Now, Savvy and Lucy and Matt, which is Lucy's husband, and all these people had a wedding to go to one night, and something happened after the wedding. A lot of drama, a lot of things happened after that wedding, and push comes to shove. Somehow, Savvy ends up dead, and Lucy ends up wandering the road barefoot, covered in Savvy's blood, with no memory of the night, of anything that had happened that night. Now, what happens is Lucy ends up getting blamed for the murder, but because they have no proof or evidence or anything at all to point to Lucy, she doesn't go to prison or doesn't go to jail or anything like that, but she's basically shunned by the entire town. And so she moves to California and tries to live her life. Now, I don't even realize how many years later it is. Does it say? It doesn't say specifically, but now, X amount of years later, her grandmother convinces Lucy to go back to the town for her grandmother's birthday. She's like, I'm gonna die soon, so you need to come and spend time with me while you can. And she gets Lucy to go back to the hometown for her birthday party. It's her big 80th birthday party, and she convinces Lucy to go back. So Lucy does. She goes back to this small town in Texas and is staying with her mom. And there's also this guy named Ben who has started doing a podcast about the cold case murder of Savvy and how it hasn't been solved in however many years. And he is in town as well during this time because he found out that Lucy was supposed to be coming back to town. So she hasn't talked to anybody about this. She still doesn't remember anything that happened those years ago with Savvy. She still doesn't remember, but she got fired from her job. Her relationship is down the drain because he found out that she might possibly have been a murderer, but nobody knows. And so she goes back, and she has since met Ben, who's doing this podcast, and she says, you know what? I want to find out what actually happened too. Whether I did it or whether somebody else did it, I want to find out what happened to Savvy. And so now Ben is working on this podcast, talking to Lucy and all these things, and he is finding out all the town's dirty little secrets. This person is cheating on that person, this person is sleeping with this person, and it is a whole ordeal. This entire town is just full of cheating spouses, cheating relationships. Everybody's got their secrets. And we're going back and forth between Lucy's chapters of like what's happening in real time and it going through him reading his podcast. I'm sorry, I sound terrible. I sound so bad right now. We have been passing around this cold. It feels like we've been passing around this cold for like months now, and it's just messing with my voice. So I apologize, but it's not getting better today. It seems like it's getting worse. Anyways, So we're going back and forth between Lucy's chapters and Ben's podcast episodes that we're reading from. And I just got to a section where it's Lucy from 5 years ago. And I'm so intrigued. This book is so incredibly bingeable. The chapters are super duper short. The little bits of the podcast that we're getting thrown in. There's so many little tidbits that we're getting throughout this book. And she has like this murderous little voice in her head and this really, really dry, sarcastic sense of humor that it cracks me up. It's like kicking my feet, Deadpool kind of comedy once again. It's funny because I was just talking about Deadpool this morning for How to Become the Dark Lord and Die Trying. I was just talking about that kind of humor, and now I feel like I'm getting the same kind of thing in this because she's just very sarcastic about it. She's like, I don't remember anything from this night, but everybody leaves it, so maybe it is true. I don't know. And so she has this like really, really messed up sense of humor about this whole situation, and it's awful. It's really awful. But at the same time, like, she doesn't remember. And everybody has shunned her for it, and so she's just like, well, you know, there's nothing I could do. If you believe what you're going to believe, then what can I do? So I am having such a good time with this. This is not so much like a really, really creepy, spooky thriller. It's just kind of a fun popcorn thriller. Like, I don't usually read a whole lot of those, or I don't feel like I have that kind of a reaction to thrillers very much, but this one, I am having such a good time with it. It reads so fast. I am up to 143 pages into this, so I'm nearly halfway through it already, and I've only been reading it for a handful of hours. Like, what did I say, like 4 hours, and I'm already nearly halfway through it. Like, I'm having such a good time with this, and I'm so glad that I started the video out this way, picking this one up, because I'm having such a good time, and I haven't read a thriller that I've really loved for a long time. So I'm really excited to continue reading this one. The writing is really approachable. I know that the audiobook is supposed to be really, really great for this too, because it's supposed to actually have like the podcast elements to it. But I'm not one usually for audiobooks. I have a really hard time focusing on audiobooks because I just don't listen. I kind of space out. And so I haven't tried the audiobook, but honestly, reading this physically, I'm still having such a great time. And I don't feel like I'm missing out on the experience, and maybe I would if I actually tried the audiobook out, and maybe I think differently. And so I was supposed to read 120 pages today, and I've already gone 20 pages past that already, and it's only 3:30. So I'm going to keep reading this. I have no idea what I'm going to rate this at this point. Right now, I'm feeling at least 4 stars because I'm just having a really good time, and I'm really enjoying it. So it's one of those that it's not like too serious. It's like kind of poking fun at itself almost, and like finding humor in things that maybe you shouldn't, but you do anyways. So I don't know, I'm really curious to see how far I get in this today. So I'll probably update you tomorrow morning, let you know how much of this I get done, and if I finish it, I will come back with a final rating, because if you look at it like that, I don't have all that much left already. So I'm going to keep reading this, and I will talk to you probably tomorrow morning. Good morning, guys, and happy April 1st. So this is one heck of an April 1st for me, because of course it is snowing out this morning. But I wanted to come on and update you because yesterday I let you know that I was reading Listen for the Lie by Amy Tintera, and I had passed my 120 page mark and was having a really, really good time with this. I was having a lot of fun. Well, right after I told you guys that one of the triggers came up for domestic violence, and I don't like that. I don't like reading about that. But I have continued on. I did end up reading 258 pages in this yesterday, and honestly, overall, I like the story. I don't like the domestic issues, but I like the book itself. I like the sense of humor in it. I like the writing style. I'm definitely curious about what's going to happen with the ending, but I don't like the domestic thing. I also feel like there is relationships in this, like sex happening, that is extremely, extremely unnecessary, and I do not like that. So I'm rolling my eyes at that. I don't like that. I feel like it could have been left out. I feel like she is kind of whoring herself out to different people in this book. And I don't like that. But overall, I am enjoying it. Otherwise, like, I'm really curious to see what happens. So I've read a little bit of this morning. I only need to read 50 pages today. I have a little clip of my journal. So I've already read almost 30 pages of this already today. I was at 258 and now I am up to 285. So I'm nearly done with this. So I figured if I'm thinking correctly about my page count, my page numbers, finishing this book today will put me ahead for my page count. This book reads so incredibly quickly. I feel like I'm flying through it because, like I said, the chapters are super short, and then you get little bits of the podcast written in here as well. So it reads really, really quickly, and it's very intriguing. I'm definitely excited to see what happens and see what kind of like twist ending there is. She has definitely a violent streak in her mind, but I don't know if that's just going to be like because everybody has accused her of murder for the last 5 years, or if there's something more to it, and I'm really curious to find out more about that. So I'm going to continue this. I'm obviously in the car. I have things that I need to go and get done today. I need to go do some last minute birthday shopping for my kiddo, among other things. But I'm going to try and finish this one this morning if possible, and then I can come on and give you an update. I also brought The Fury with me, so that way when I finish this one, I could jump into another thriller, because I really need to read this book. And we'll just save the big chunky fantasy for like over the weekend when I don't update you guys as much. That's kind of what I'm thinking, because today is Tuesday and it is April 1st, like I said, and so I can update you guys more during the week, but it never fails that like once we get into the weekend, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I'm busy and everybody's home and things are happening, I don't update you as much. So I'm thinking that I'm gonna read these two this week while I can give you guys like regular updates easier, and then over the weekend I'm gonna try and jump into the big chunky 700 page fantasy, because I don't update you as much. But there's not as much that I can say about like a really chunky fantasy, because they're like, you get to the point where it's spoilers. Even if it is the first book in the series, when it's that chunky, there's a lot of things that happen. So that's kind of my thought process. And so yeah, I'm going to get going to town before the snow gets any worse. I'll take some B-roll so that way you guys can see it, because it's like a really wet snow right now. So it's sticking, but I don't know how long it's gonna last. But it is 32 degrees outside and it is 7:15 in the morning. So I'm hoping that it all goes away very soon, but we'll see what happens. But anyways, I'm gonna get going so that way I can get to town before it starts snowing worse, and I will check in with you guys once I finish the book, give you my final thoughts, my final rating. It's definitely not going to be a 5-star, especially with the domestic stuff and the relationship stuff, but I'm kind of caught in the middle between a 3 and a 4 right now. So yeah, we'll see what it ends up being by the time I get done. Hey guys, so it's now 5:15 and I just finished Listen for the Lie by Amy Tintera, and I ended up giving this 3.5 stars. I didn't like the little bit of a romance aspect to this. I felt like that was unnecessary. I didn't like the fact that they brought in domestic things with this, and honestly the plot twist, I felt like it was almost predictable, but at the same time, like, it wasn't. I don't know. It's hard to explain it, but I didn't like the way that it ended up panning out, and so I was really disappointed with it by the end, which really sucks. I thought the writing was good, and I thought it was definitely intriguing. However, it just really fell flat for me at the end, so that's why I'm having to give it a lower rating, which is really unfortunate. This is definitely not a 5-star read. I am, however, glad that I read it. I think I would definitely be interested in reading something else by this author, but hopefully not something that's going to go in the same direction. I definitely thought it was good writing, and I did have fun with it. I had a lot of fun with this one, and it was really, really quick read. I was able to pick it up randomly throughout the day when I was just kind of waiting in my car to meet up with my husband and stuff, and just read like a chapter or two at a time while I was waiting for him, and was able to stop at chapters because the chapters were so short, which I love that. So I did finish this one, which means that I did meet my pages for today. I'll have to count the actual number of pages I've read so far today, but I'm going to, I think, start The Fury next, like I was talking about this morning. And so I will talk to you guys tomorrow and see how many pages I actually end up getting read today. But I just want to come on and let you guys know that I finished this one, and I think I'm at a 3.5 star for this one, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. So I will check back in with you guys tomorrow. See ya. Good morning, guys. So it is now Wednesday. It is April 2nd, and it is 14 degrees outside. It is freaking cold, but I wanted to come on here and update you. So yesterday I told you that I finished Listen for the Light and I gave it 3.5 stars, and that I was gonna start The Fury by Alex Michaelides, and I did. I had read the first like 2 chapters in this, or first chapter in this, like last week, and then I continued on. So I only read about 10 pages in this one yesterday. So I read a total of, I believe it was 85 pages, and today my number I think is 89. So I don't know how that's gonna go. I have things that I need to get done today, plus baseball practice, plus I need to edit videos because my internet wasn't working at the house the other day, so I couldn't edit and post a video yesterday. So I have lots to do today, and I'm gonna try and get done as much as I can, including reading. I've already read like 7 or so pages in this, so I am up to chapter 5, which is 25 pages into this, and I don't know what to think about this yet. So this book kind of has the same narrative as like everyone in my family has killed someone, that he's like speaking to you as the reader, and usually I like that. I just don't know what to think about this yet. Honestly, like, I just don't have a whole lot of thoughts. I'm a little bit weary going into it because I love The Silent Patient so much. It's one of my all-time favorite thrillers. But The Maidens I thought was just really mediocre. So I'm not entirely sure what to think of it yet, but I'm going to keep reading that. And I also have that James Islington one with me in case if I want to kind of start in on that and read a little bit of that. And so yeah. I have a very busy day. It is 7:15 right now, and I need to get to town so I can start in on actually getting some of these things done. I'm going to charge up my headphones in the truck while I'm on my way down, so that way I can use those between editing and maybe even listen to an audiobook. I don't know. But like I said, I have lots to do, so I'm gonna get to it and get things done. And it snowed last night. Like, this sucks. This is on the ground out here. I am not a fan. I am not a fan. It is April 2nd. It is supposed to be warming up. I don't know, it's supposed to get rainy today. And I told my son that he might even get rained out of baseball if it's gonna be raining all afternoon. But right now we have clear blue skies, so we'll see. I don't know. You never really know with a Colorado spring, especially in springtime, because winters last long, and then the next day it could be 60 degrees, 70 degrees outside. So with Colorado, you never really know. But I'm hoping for warmer days, and especially since I'm reading a summery thriller about a Greek island at Easter. So I'm gonna get going so that way I can get my butt to town and get things going. But I wanted to come on and update you, and hopefully I'll get some reading done today in amongst everything else. Good morning. So today is now Thursday. It is the 3rd of April, and I didn't do a whole lot of reading yesterday, which I knew that wasn't going to happen because I had a lot that I needed to get done, and we didn't get home until almost 9 o'clock, which is always really difficult with young kids. But we had baseball practice last night, and it was freaking cold. So had that, and then we got home, had a quick, really easy supper, and then went to bed. but I read a little bit. So I ended up reading 29 pages in The Fury yesterday. My reading goal was 89. So I didn't quite make that. I do need to add on 60 pages to today. So our number today is 119 pages. Add on the 60 and I need to read 179 pages today. But I am up to chapter 10, which is about 50 pages on the dot actually into The Fury. I'm still not entirely sure what to think of this. This book didn't really hook me right from the beginning, and then it's been kind of a slower start. I said that it was kind of starting out almost like everyone in my family has killed someone, where like the author or the narrator is speaking to you as the reader. And normally I like that. This one, I'm not entirely sure about it because it's just, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's just a little bit flat. There was a little bit more personality in everyone in my family has killed someone. And so far this one is just kind of it's been a little flat. So I'm not entirely sure what to think of this one. I'm hoping that with being able to get more reading done today, that I'll be able to really get into this one. And so I have about, like, this one's not very long. It's not even 300 pages. So I think that I only have like 250 pages left to read in this. So that's my goal. Technically, I need to read 179 pages for this challenge, but my goal would be to binge read this today and finish it out. That would be fantastic. I would love to do that. But that's what I'm shooting for. So I got a video edited yesterday and posted, which will be going up at 4 o'clock this afternoon. But anyways, I'm going to keep reading The Fury today, and it is 7:15 right now. So I have the entire day to read and edit and film or whatever the case may be. And so I have all day. And I just need to, I want to do some cleaning here at home because I feel like I've been kind of neglecting that. Just because of with having everything being crazy for baseball and everything else, I feel like I've kind of neglected cleaning. So I want to do that today. And so yeah, other than that, I think my daughter and I are just going to hang out and watch some YouTube. And she watches Mickey Mouse on YouTube and other shows like that. And then obviously the book videos. So I think we're just going to kind of go back and forth with those today. And I'm going to get some reading done, and I will check back in with you when I have some more thoughts on The Fury. So like I said, right now I'm not totally sure about it, and I'm very nervous with going into this book because like I've said it already. I know I have, but I love Silent Patient so much. One of my all-time favorite thrillers, and The Maidens, I don't really remember at all. It wasn't memorable for me at all. And I think I gave it 4 stars, but like thinking back on it, I think it'd be like a 3 because, like I said, I don't remember any of it. But I'm going to keep reading The Fury. Hopefully it goes well and things start to pick up now that I'm getting a little bit further into it. And so yeah, I will check back in with you guys later on when I actually have some tangible thoughts and stuff like that because I'm exhausted. So, hey, what's up guys? So it is 4:30. I am just about to go down to the bus stop and I wanted to come on and update you because I just finished The Fury by Alex Michaelides. So I've read 246 pages today. Let's start with that. So that's fantastic. Read a lot today. I surpassed by quite a bit my goal for today. Unfortunately, I did not care for The Fury. I felt like, and I know I keep saying this, but it reminded me a lot of Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone. But Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone by Benjamin Stevenson had a little bit of humor, and it was just a fun read to go along with the mystery. I did not like Elliot Chase, our perspective that we're talking to, that is narrating the story for us. Did not like him. And I know he's not supposed to be particularly likable. None of the characters are supposed to be particularly likable in this book, but I feel like it was a missed opportunity. I feel like he didn't do it as well as he could have. And I don't know, I'm really disappointed in this. I was hoping because when Gabby talked about reading this book, she said the ending was like plot twists, like The Only One Left by Riley Sager. Loved that book. The plot twists at the end were insane, and I absolutely loved it. This one really fell short for me. I thought it was almost kind of predictable the way that it ended, and it got a little weird and unexplainable, and just, I don't know, it just didn't, it really fell flat for me. So my point being, I'm giving this 3 stars, which is really unfortunate. I am going to be even more worried about picking up anything by Alex Michaelides in the future, which it really sucks, because the last 2 books from him have just been not so great for me. And I was really hoping that this one would pull through and be really good. I felt like it really had a lot of chances to do that, and I felt like it just fell really flat for me. It didn't have the shock value that I was hoping for, and honestly throughout the book I felt like I just didn't really care for the characters or about the characters or what was happening with the characters, like you kind of want to with the thriller. You want to know what's going to happen. You want to know what's coming next. And I read it really quickly. However, it just really fell flat. I don't know, I'm so bummed out right now. I'm so bummed out. So I've had a 3.5-star thriller and a 3-star thriller. I always feel like I need a redemption at this point. I really feel like I need a redemption. Luckily, I have Kill for Me, Kill for You on my TBR for the month. So I will be reading another thriller, just not yet. I'm hoping tonight to at least read a little bit of The Shadow of What Was Lost to get that started and kind of have that as my weekend book. I don't usually vlog as much on the weekends, and so I'm hoping to at least get a little bit of a start in that one, and so that way I can hopefully get through that one this weekend and get all my pages read. But at least for now, I need to get going because I need to get going down to the bus stop to pick up my kids. But I wanted to come on and let you know I have finished that book. I've read 246 pages so far today, so that exceeds my, what was it, 179 I think. And so yeah, I've done that, but I ended up with, unfortunately, another 3-star thriller. And so I'm going to take that one down to my dad because I know he really wants to read it. And yeah, so that's all I've got for you for now. So I will probably talk to you tomorrow. Hey guys, so it is now Saturday. It is the 5th of April, and I have not come on to update you at all today. It is now 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I haven't come on to update you because I don't really have a whole lot to say. So let's start with this. Yesterday, I was supposed to read 143 pages. I read 31. As predicted, I didn't read very much. I read 31 pages. So that means today my number is 58, and I had to add on 112 pages. So I need to read 170 pages today. I have started The Shadow of What Was Lost. Do I have a good grasp on what's happening at almost 100 pages in? Not really. This book so far is following Davian. Davian he's, oh goodness, I don't even know how to describe it. He's gifted is what it's called. So it's basically that he has a symbol on his arm and it's supposed to allow him to have like some kind of powers, But for some reason or another, his powers never fully came through, haven't really shown him themselves. And he has somebody come and tell him and that is because he's what they call an augur, which is like some kind of a seer or like future seer, like somebody that gets visions or something like that. They're supposed to have been dead. And that's why his powers are different. But there's a whole group of people that are trying to hunt down the new augurs and kill them, and so he has to run away from the school that he's been at since he was really little and go north to try and find other augurs. That's basically what this book has been about so far. I have made it up to chapter 9. I am 92 pages into this book right now. I am so incredibly bored right now. It is not even funny. I have read, so far today, I've read 54 pages. I am so bored with this one. This book is just under 700 pages. This book is huge. And the writing is fine, but is it extremely slow? Yes. Is it well explained? Not really. It's really hard to explain it. I keep like imagining like the school setting that he's at reminds me of the Grand Maesters at, or like in Game of Thrones in the show. Reminds me of that when Sam Tarly goes to the Maesters and is learning at the, like their libraries and stuff like that. It reminds me of that. And then this whole thing with Davian and his best friend something like that, going on this journey is like Lord of the Rings. That's basically what this is reminding me of right now. And it is so incredibly slow. I'm so bored with it. So I think for right now, I might set this one down. Kind of come back to it here and there, maybe keep reading a little bit of it, but I am going to pick 3 more books out of my jar to hopefully try and get some more reading done, because right now I've read 54 pages today. All day long. It is 4 o'clock in the afternoon and I've only read 50 pages. I am not into this book at all. And I'm almost 100 pages in. I think something should be happening at this point where I should be wanting to read more, not bored and lost and not really caring, because that's kind of where I'm at right now. So I'm going to pick 3 more books out of the jar. Kind of change things up a little bit, because this is not the kind of book that I need to have in this kind of a challenge. As I've said before when this has happened, it's not the kind of book I need for this challenge. So it might be like a soft DNF for right now, and maybe come back to it another point in time where I just kind of want like a fantasy to immerse myself in, but it's not working for me right now. So let's see what I get. First one that I have, let's go out of the middle, is a purple one. So this is one of my newest books. Ooh, and that's Water Moon by Samantha Sato Yambao. This is one that my sister just got for me, and it's supposed to be like a pawn shop that you can like pawn off your regrets. I've heard super mixed things about this. I know a lot of people have been reading it here lately and they've been super disappointed in it, but I'm so curious to try it out for myself. I know that I've heard people say that there's like an unnecessary romance in it. So I don't know, I'm really curious to try it. So that is our first option. Next one, I'm just gonna pick randomly. I don't care what color they are at this point. I've done one of each color now. So do this one, and it's an orange one. Ink Blood Sister Scribe by Emma Torres. So another Dark Academia. I don't really remember a whole lot about that one, but I do remember thinking that it sounded really good. I'm pretty sure it was in the Goodreads Choice Awards too. And I don't think it won, but I'm curious to try it. And then let's pick out like deeper in if I don't get my hand stuck in this jar. All right, let's go with that one. Another orange one. Okay. Beneath the Shadows by Sarah Foster. So another thriller. So maybe this will end up being like a thriller edition apparently. I don't remember what that one is about. I remember it has a wintry cover and there's like something about a missing husband or a missing child or something like that. I don't know. Let me grab the books and let's talk about them. Okay, so here we are. We have Ink Blood Sister Scribe by Emma Torres. This one, it says, it's a spellbinding debut novel. 2 estranged half-sisters tasked with guarding their family's library of magical books must work together to unravel a deadly secret at the heart of their collection, a tale of familiar loyalty and betrayal, and the pursuit of magic and power. For generations, the Calate family has guarded a collection of ancient and rare books, books that let a person walk through walls or manipulate the elements, books of magic that half-sisters Joanna and Esther have been raised to revere and protect. All magic comes with a price, though, and for years the sisters have been separated. Esther has fled to a remote base in Antarctica to escape the fate that killed her own mother, and Joanna has isolated herself in their family home in Vermont, devoting herself to the study of those cherished volumes. But after their father dies suddenly while reading a book Joanna has never seen before, the sisters must reunite to preserve their family legacy. In the process, they uncover a world of magic far bigger and more dangerous than they ever imagined, and all the secrets their parents kept hidden. Secrets that span centuries, continents, and even other libraries. The suspenseful and richly atmospheric novel draws readers into a vast world filled with mystery and magic, romance and intrigue, and marks the debut of an extraordinary new voice in speculative fiction. So it sounds really interesting, and I'm definitely curious to try it. I absolutely love this one. This copy is like all shimmery and is really pretty, and it's definitely a good option, and it's not very long either. And then we have Water Moon. Again, I know people have probably already seen this, but this book, the naked hardcover of this, is so pretty. I absolutely love it. But it says, a woman inherits a pawn shop where you can sell your regrets and then embarks on a magical journey when a charming young physicist wanders into the shop in this dreamlike and enchanting fantasy novel. On a back street in Tokyo lies a pawn shop, but not everyone can find it. Most will see a cozy ramen restaurant, and only the chosen ones, those who are lost, will find a place to pawn their life choices and deepest regrets. Hana Ishikawa wakes on her first morning as the pawn shop's new owner to find it ransacked, the shop's most precious acquisition stolen, and her father missing, and then into the shop stumbles a charming stranger, quite unlike his other customers, for he offers help instead of seeking it. Together they must journey through a mystical world to find Hannah's father and the stolen choice, by the way of rain puddles, rides on paper cranes, the bridge between midnight and morning, and a night market in the clouds. But as they get closer to the truth, Hannah must reveal a secret of her own and risk making a choice that she will never be able to take back. Okay, seriously, by saying they're traveling through rain puddles, it made me think of that one Charmed episode. If you've seen it, you might know what I'm talking about, with Piper and the Chinese father and daughter, and they jump into like rain puddles and stuff. I don't even remember the whole episode, but it just totally made me think of that. So this one sounds good, and I'm so intrigued to try this out. It sounds a little bit like Grim Curiosities that I read in March, but I don't know. I've heard really mixed things about this. I've heard people be really disappointed in this, but I still really, really want to try it out. And it's so pretty, and I want to try it. And this one my sister sent to me, so I might want to wait for her. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. And then last we have Beneath the Shadows, which is another thriller. It says it's a haunting tale that will leave you breathless. That's from Heather Gudenkopf, who wrote The Overnight Guest, which I gave 4 stars. This one, it says, and in this thrilling gothic suspense debut in the tradition of Rosamund Lupton and Sophie Hannah, a young mother searches Yorkshire's windswept moors for the truth behind her husband's mysterious disappearance. The answers are hiding beneath the shadows. When Grace's husband Adam inherits an isolated North Yorkshire cottage, they leave the bustle of London behind to try a new life. A week later, Adam vanishes without a trace, abandoning their baby daughter Millie in her stroller on the doorstep. The following year, Grace returns to the tiny village on the untamed heath. Everyone, the police, her parents, even her best friend and younger sister, is convinced that Adam left her. But Grace, unable to let go of her memories of their love and life together, cannot accept this explanation. She is desperate for answers, but the slumbering, deeply superstitious Hamlet is unwilling to give up its secrets. As Grace hunts through forgotten corners of the cottage, searching for clues, and digs deeper into the lives of the locals, strange dreams begin to haunt her. Are the villagers hiding something, or is she becoming increasingly paranoid? Only as snowfall threatens to cut her and Millie off from the rest of the world does Grace make a terrible discovery. She has been looking for answers in the wrong place all along, and she and her daughter will be in terrible danger if she cannot get them away in time. I don't know. I've had 2 really mediocre thrillers so far. Should I try it? I don't know. I might try it. I might try it because if I really don't like it at the beginning, I don't like the writing style or whatever, I could DNF it. If it doesn't hook me, whatever the case may be, I can DNF it and move on. So I might start with this one and then kind of see where it goes from there. Like, I really want to read the fantasy books, and the fantasy books are definitely more intriguing. But I've also had this one for quite a while, and I've already read 2 thrillers for this vlog that have gotten 3 stars and 3.5 stars, so I feel like I need a redemption. I feel like I need a redemption where I can actually find a decent thriller in this vlog. So I might start with this one and read a little bit of it, and then I'll come back to you and give you my thoughts. Whether I DNF, whether I get halfway through will be determined. But I am going to go read. And like I said, I will probably come back to this one at some point. It's just I am so incredibly bored with this one right now, and I don't even want to keep reading it. So I'm tired, and having a really slow fantasy book right now is just not working for me. So I'm gonna put this one on hold for now, and I will pick up one of these 3 next. I'm kind of leaning towards this one just to try it out. But anyway, that is my update for you. So I had 170 pages to read. I've read about 54, so I have about 120 pages left that I should be reading today. And I will probably come on later today or tomorrow to give you an update and let you know what I actually got done. Like I said, it is already 4 o'clock, so I will talk to you guys later. Hey you guys, so I haven't been on here as expected. For a hot minute. I think the last day that I came to update you was on Saturday. I had read, sorry, my daughter is playing with her Minnie Mouse phone. I had read around 50 pages in The Shadow of What Was Lost, and I decided to kind of set this one aside for the time being. I have an okay start in it, but I'm about 100 pages in, and this one was just so slow that I was having a really hard time like binge reading big chunks of this at a time. So I didn't have the desire to pick it back up right away. I do want to go back to it though, just maybe not for this video. So I ended up reading a total of 94 pages on Saturday. I read the first chapter in Beneath the Shadows because my thought process was, hey, I've had 2 3-star thrillers so far in this video. Maybe I could turn things around with this. But I read the first chapter in this one, and it just did not hook me. It did not hook me. It was her and her husband with their newborn daughter. Their daughter was like 10 days old, had moved out to the, basically out to the country in England, and were living in this little cottage, and they were gonna try and living there for at least 6 months because it was a family home that they had inherited from, I think it was like his grandparents, and so they were like, okay, let's move here. I can take an extended maternity leave to be with our daughter. So let's give it 6 months, see how things go. Well, their husband and the daughter go out for a walk one day, and she is waiting for them to come back. She's like, oh my God, they should be back by now. She's getting worried. And then she looks out the window and she sees their daughter's pram, her stroller thing, outside. Her daughter is all bundled up in it, sleeping. Her daughter is there, but the husband is not. And then it skips ahead to, I think it's like a year later, and she's decided to go back and try and find out what happened to her husband. So I might come back to this one at some point, but it just didn't hook me right away, and I wanted something to hook me in. So what I ended up starting was Ink, Blood, Sister, Scribe by Emma Torres. So I ended up reading the first couple of chapters in this, which is what got us to 94 pages. And so that means that out of 170 pages, I only read 94 on Saturday. But it was better than I expected because I wasn't off to a great start, having only read 50 pages by 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Then Sunday, I didn't do very much reading either. So I had 76 pages that I needed to add on. My page count was 51. Should have been a pretty easy day, but with adding the 76, I had to read 127 pages on Sunday. I hung out with the family, went to baseball, you know, normal weekend things. So I read a total of 42 pages yesterday, but I am currently 93 pages into Ink, Blood, Sister, Scribe. This one is described as like a gothic style magic, like fantasy. And I'm really into this already. Like the first chapter hooked me, and then the differences in the sisters. So we're following Joanna. Joanna had stayed with her father and seen her father, when he died, he had his one hand on a book and was just laid out in the lawn for some reason and was gone. He was dead. And she doesn't know why, but for whatever reason, this book drained his blood. So there's magical properties with these books that you use just a little bit of blood and some other herbs and things, and it kind of activates the magic. But for whatever reason, this unknown book that she had never seen before didn't just take a little bit of blood, it drained him of blood. So we're following Joanna, and this is like 2 years later. And now we're like 2 years later, Joanna is living her day-to-day with really no changes from when her father was alive. She keeps going and putting up the wards and the safety spells and whatnot to keep the house safe, and is trying to figure out how to make the magic ink, basically, to write spells, write books. And then we're also following Esther. Yes, Esther. We're following Esther, and Esther is constantly basically on the run. And she was told when she left home, because Joanna doesn't know why she left home. She just knows that her sister left and hasn't come back. And so when Esther leaves home, she was told by her father that she has to leave every day on November 2nd by this time or whatever. Otherwise, the people that came and murdered her mother, because they're half-sisters, the person or people that murdered her mother will come after her and her family. And so she has to keep on the run in order to keep everybody safe. But now she's living in Antarctica, has had a relationship with this woman named Pearl, and decides, I don't know if I really want to, sorry, I'm trying to adjust so the sun's not right in my face. She's decided that she wants to stay with Pearl and stay in Antarctica. And so now it's November 5th, and she has realized that the mirrors have magical properties to them. There is blood on the mirrors to where they can, somebody seems to be watching her. And so there's a lot that's happened. There is a lot that's happened. For being 93 pages into this book, I'm only on chapter 7, and I'm so intrigued. So, what I'm getting at is that my page count for today was originally 88 pages, and since I only read 42 pages yesterday, I have to add on 85 pages to today. So I need to read 173 pages today. So I have already started reading a little bit this morning. I've read maybe 20 or 30 pages so far today. Not very much, just a couple of chapters. But I am reading this one right now. I am really, really enjoying it. I think this is possibly going to be one that I end up sending to my sister, but I haven't decided yet. It kind of depends on how things play out. There's aspects in this that kind of remind me of Charmed, and that's really fun. I'm really liking that because I always loved the original Charmed TV show growing up with Piper and Prue and Phoebe Halliwell. I always loved that show growing up, and I still watch it whenever I have the opportunity. I wish it was still on Netflix, but it's not. But yeah, I love that show, and so it's giving me that kind of vibe right now, where there's like a lot of mystery and the magic elements, and I'm really enjoying it. So I'm going to continue reading this today. We'll see if I read the 173 pages today or not. If I have to extend this into tomorrow, I don't know yet, but I'm just gonna kind of go with it. We'll see what happens today. And honestly, I need to reorganize these because they are a mess. My daughter keeps pulling them out, and I keep pulling things out and been putting random books back. So I need to reorganize my shelves today, and maybe today, and I need to reorganize, and I need to do a lot of reading. And so yeah, that's kind of where we're at. And I apologize that I haven't really been updating you very well, but it's kind of to be expected. That's usually how it goes on the weekends, right? So I'm going to keep reading this today, and I will come back and give you an update when I get a little bit further into Ink Blood Sister Scribe. And I apologize for this lighting. I'm sitting in my entryway, And the sun is coming through our we have 3 great big windows in here, which I love. It's great for natural light. But in the mornings it's difficult because the sun's coming up and coming straight into these windows. That's why I'm adjusting and moving and have the sun in my face. But anyways, I will talk to you guys later on today when I make some more progress with this book. And hopefully it ends up being a good one and we can kind of get out of this 3-star thriller thing. But we'll see. Hey guys, so ignore the fact that my face is breaking out still, but I never came on to give you a final update yesterday on my reading. So I had to read, what was it, 170, so I had to read 173 pages yesterday, and I was reading Inkblood Sister Scribe by Emma Torres, and I ended up reading 185 pages in this book yesterday. So I did it for the first time. I finally completed my number of pages that I needed to read on the day that I needed to read them, at least in total. I didn't get everything done on the specific day that I was supposed to, but you know what? I will take this and I will count this as a win. So I'm not actually going to wrap things up here yet though, because I am up to chapter 23 in this book, page 262, which means that I have a little bit less than 150 pages left of this. So I thought that I would do like I did with The Bones Beneath My Skin by TJ Klune in my last one and finish out the book so that way I can give you my final thoughts and my final reading. Right now, I am, like 2/3 of the way through this book, and I'm really enjoying this. This definitely has the gothic vibe. It's got the descriptions of everything, and it's very dark. There's a lot of blood because of the fact that that is how the magic is activated, is by blood, and I'm really enjoying it. So I'm on part 2 now, and things are really gonna start picking up. Honestly, I feel like this book never really got super slow. I feel like there was always something going on that made you keep wondering, make you want to keep reading, and I'm really enjoying it. So I figured that I completed my pages, which is fantastic. I'm super excited about that. I didn't honestly think that it would happen with everything going on right now. But baseball games start tomorrow night, and I thought that I would try to finish this before then, if possible, so that way I can come on and give you guys a final update with my final thoughts and actually wrap things up. So we did it, so yay for me. I'm so excited. I can't believe I actually did it. I wanted to keep pushing last night and get to that 200 page mark. I love being able to read 200 pages or more on any given day, but I was so tired and I figured I better quit while I was ahead so that way I didn't miss anything in this book. But I'm enjoying it a lot, and I think it's gonna be between a 4 and 5 stars. I honestly am not sure at this point, but I'm so excited to see what happens next. And Esther, the sister who is living in Antarctica, is on her way back to see Joanna, her sister in Vermont, and so I'm really excited to see what's going to happen now that we're finally getting to that point. And so I'm going to keep reading this, but I will come back and I will give you my last final thoughts for this book, my final rating, and wrap everything up for you guys once I finish it. But I wanted to come on here because it's Tuesday afternoon. It is about 4:15 right now, and I wanted to let you guys know that I did it. I finished out my pages yesterday. I didn't have to add on an extra day like I normally do. And so yeah, I'm going to finish this one out, so I will be back with my final thoughts. But yeah, so I will talk to you guys later then. Hey, what's up guys? So it is now Wednesday. I came on here yesterday afternoon to tell you that on Monday I officially reached and exceeded my page count for the week. So I've officially won my game, but now I have also officially finished my last book. So I am back again. This video I finished 3 books and I started a 4th, and overall I ended up reading a total of 977 pages between Monday the 31st of March and Monday the 7th of April. I officially read 977 pages total. So let's talk about it a little bit one last time. So the first book I started out with for this video was Listen for the Lie by Amy Tintera. I love this book starting out. You guys heard me gushing about it when I first started it, and then as the book reached the halfway point and the last half of the book, it kind of went downhill for me. So I ended up giving this book 3.5 stars. I had a good time. I would like to see what this author comes out with next, but it just didn't quite hit for me for reasons that you've already heard about. So I ended up giving this one 3.5 stars. And like I said, I would love to see more from this author. So I count that as a win, even though it wasn't the best rating. The next one that I picked up, I do not have it because I've already given it to my dad for him to be able to start reading. And that is The Fury by Alex Michaelides. Talked about this one as well. This one has similar vibes to Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone. I mentioned it a lot. I know. I apologize. But it did have a lot of similarities to that one. However, I thought Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone, I felt like that one did it better. With having the one of the characters speaking to you, telling you the story like they are sitting down and talking to you and telling it to you themselves. I felt like Benjamin Stevenson was able to pull it off better. I was more invested in the characters in that book. I was more invested in Ernie, I think his name was, our main character, than I was in The Fury. And it didn't hit for me. I really was hoping for more. I felt like he really could have pushed that book and things in that book a lot further, like he did with The Silent Patient. I feel like Silent Patient, he took a big risk and it paid off really, really well for him. And I feel like everything since then is he's almost played it safe. Like, he's afraid that people aren't gonna like it if he takes things that next step further, which I really, 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 really wish that he would do. Because I want that shock factor. I want that surprise, that whole thing where you look back and think, holy crap, this person has been just deceiving me this entire time, but I could see where it lines up. And I want that feeling again. And I am still looking for that feeling from Alex Michaelides again. He gave it to me in The Silent Patient and made me absolutely love his books, but I've been looking for it ever since, which is really disappointing. So The Fury, I ended up at 3 stars. I thought it was fine. There was nothing wrong with it. I just didn't feel invested. It didn't hit for me. It didn't have the shock. It didn't have the surprise. It didn't have the twists like I really, really, really wanted it to have. So that one was kind of a flop for me. Next book that I tried to pick up was The Shadow of What Was Lost by James Islington. I ended up soft DNFing this. I did not want to continue it for this video. I made it up to almost 100 pages in, and it was just too slow. It was too slow. I was having a hard time wanting to pick it back up, and in a challenge like this, I need books that I want to pick up. It doesn't really work to try and read 170 pages in a day if I don't want to read the book that I've got. So I did put a hot stop to this one for right now. I do want to continue it kind of in the background with other things if I have that possibility, or picking it up later on in some other form. I just wasn't super into it right now. It read fairly quickly, but I just feel like not a lot happened for reading as much of it as I did. This is almost a 700-page book, so it is a big one. And I do have the entire series, and I would like to read them, and I would like to enjoy them, but it just wasn't the time right now. And finally, I ended up picking up Ink Blood Sister Scribe. This is by Emma Torres. This one is a gothic kind of magical realism type fantasy where books can have blood magic, where you can get a prick of blood and infuse it with the book and read the spell and have magic happen. And it is following 2 sisters, Esther and Joanna, as well as Nicholas, there we go. I keep wanting to say Nathan, as well as Nicholas, and Nicholas is British, rich, and very well off. He's very spoiled, and he has this bodyguard named Collins that we meet during this book, and I didn't really talk about him before, but Nicholas has been raised in basically captivity, where he is anemic, he is sickly, he is all of these things, and he is very protected. He's very important in this world. And then we have Joanna and Esther. They are half sisters, and Joanna, we know right from the beginning that Joanna has some kind of an inclination with these magical books, and Esther feels like she's always been the odd one out, where she doesn't hear the books, she doesn't have the same abilities that Joanna does, so she has always felt like she was kind of on the outside. And Esther, when she turns 18, her father tells her that you can either stay here and put the entire family at risk by staying here and staying safe with us, or you can go on the run, and every year on November 2nd, you have to keep moving for 24 hours. Otherwise, the people that killed your mother will come and find you, and they will find the rest of your family, and bad things will happen. And so, of course, she goes on the run because she wants to take care of her family. And Joanna since has then not known why her sister left, and this book is all about a huge mystery that one day Joanna finds her father on the front lawn, and he is dead, and all of the life has been sucked out of him through a book. These magical books that have always been a safety net for her somehow have taken the life of her father, and they're trying to figure out what happened and why Esther isn't safe to be at home with her family. And this book, I thought it was so well written. It had the Gothic style, the very descriptive, very atmospheric, kind of dark writing, and I loved that. It was so, so good. I loved the relationship between Esther and Joanna, because I forgot that they're half-sisters, which is supposed to happen. They've grown up together. They've never been away from each other until Esther turned 18. And so they don't see it as being half-siblings. They see it as being full-blooded siblings, and so you forget the fact that they're half-siblings. But their relationship was fantastic. I loved the relationship. They had strife because they hadn't seen each other in so long, and at the same time it was like they never left each other. They're still sisters. I also really, really liked Nicholas's perspective. I felt like he wasn't so much uppity. He wasn't so much uppity and like arrogant as he was just like secluded. He was secluded, and that's exactly how it was supposed to be. But I liked his character. I liked the character of Collins, which is his bodyguard. I loved the characters in this. I love the atmosphere, and I love the storyline. I thought there was a lot of tension, and there was a lot of things that made me keep reading. Honestly, there were plot twists in this book that shocked me more than the plot twists in these books, which is really unfortunate considering those are thrillers. But I loved this book, and needless to say, I gave this 5 stars. I am so excited to send this one down to my sister, so that way she can read it too if she doesn't already have it. I'll have to double check that. But I love this. I thought it was so well written, and it was just so well done. I thought the magic was really interesting. I thought the secrets were really interesting. I thought all of it was done so, so well, and I'm so glad that I picked this up. And I'm definitely curious to see what she will come out with next. I know a lot of people had really mixed opinions on this one, but I loved it. I thought it was great. And so yeah, I'm really, really glad to say that I was able to start this off on a really, really high note with the first half of this book. And I also ended on a really, really high note with a 5-star read for this video. So overall, like I said, I read 977 pages this last week, not including what I read to finish this book out yesterday or today. I will say that. So that was 977, not including this entire book. So I read 977 pages. These are 3 of the 4 books that I picked up this week. Have you read these? Did you enjoy them? Did you have the same thoughts I did about any of them? I would love to hear your thoughts. Please like, comment, and subscribe down below if you feel so inclined. And if you would like to see more TBR jar challenges from me, I am trying to do these once a month, kind of whenever the mood strikes. So stay tuned for more of these videos. I will try to remember to link the playlist. I started a playlist for these videos, so I will try to remember to link that playlist down below as well. And I will catch you in my next one. I believe I have a book haul coming up as well next week, I think. So I will catch you in my next one. Bye.